Hey everyone, thanks for joining. This is a really our community call for the first time for 2023. We have Alex and Greg and our community members join as well. So the idea, the intent for this call is to share with you our focus and strategy for 2023, some of the things that we are currently working on, and Greg will share more about the core development, the SDKs, and everything in his space. And Alex will talk more about strategy and go to market. I'll give some updates later on from the marketing side. So, Alex, I will pass this on to you for you to take the community through the strategy.
Thanks, Charu. Welcome, everyone. We're going to do an unusual thing and are not going to wait for 5 minutes for everybody to join, but we'll start right away, and then hopefully those who are in later will be able to catch up. Our last call in December was a recap for what we have done so far, and I still think of last year back and am still kind of getting continued feeling of so many accomplishments. But most importantly, what we have done last year is basically we got ourselves ready for growth. If you look at the overall Polkadot ecosystem, the parachains are actually, it takes a long while for them to be able to really onboard projects and start getting traction and growth. Our assessment and assessment of others in the ecosystem is that when it comes to NFTs, we have the most kind of mature and ready infrastructure in place. And when you think of it, we are far, far ahead from everybody else in that respect, because we have built so much and that technology is ready. We have built the chain that is capable of many things that no other chain on the planet can do. Well, certainly it can do all the basic stuff that all others can do, but even that can do much easier, much cheaper, much more efficient, much more energy efficient, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say we are positioned for adoption and growth. That was the goal of last year. We have accomplished it. We have onboarded the first projects and partners, and now it's time to do the heavy lifting in ecosystem growth and adoption, project onboarding, community growth, etc. So I wanted, this call will not be about some kind of special immediate announcements, although there will be a few things that you will hear for the first time, but are more for the year-long plans, things that you will see coming up, things that we will work on hard and that we will focus on. So please, don't jump on the CMs after the call to ask too many questions about specific plans, because there are some interesting ones, because they still don't know. This is a strategy. A lot of it is in evolution. So, bear with me as we go through, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. The growth of the ecosystem, the go-to-market, so to speak, strategy evolves around 4 pillars for us. First, we have developed a very elaborate strategy for onboarding startups, solo product projects that are fairly simple in implementation and scope, and that we hope with time, again, will start growing in large numbers. Our immediate focus, though, and our biggest focus will be on the segment we call enterprise, which is actually a set of partnerships with projects that have multiple, with teams, products, projects that have either multiple projects pipeline or are big in them, very, very big in themselves, or that are enterprise companies, enterprise clients, and so on. The best example to this is Lemonade, with which we kind of performed an integration with their product, their platform, and they do projects with events, every once in a while. Last year, for the period since integration, we had 7 projects with them, for example. So those types of partnerships require special kind of attention and a lot of more resources. That's their kind of because they can bring much more to us than a single project can. Third component or leg is marketplaces strategy, and I'm going to talk about what is our view on our marketplace, how it is going to evolve, and what we plan to do further. What we are doing now and what we are doing further, this is something that will be very interesting to a lot of community members, because we have put that on pause mostly last year, but now we started kind of really working on it. Fourth component is something that will require a little explanation. I'll do that when I get to it. The open source growth. We have built a lot of things, a lot of software, and that software can actually be beneficial not only to our parachain, but to many parachains in the Polkadot ecosystem. And we plan to push for that. I'll explain more when we get to that. So coming back to our 4 pillars one by one. The startup segment is, we have had contacts with hundreds of projects in the last 2 years, let's say, a year and a half, 2 years. We have understood that the segment of startups, so these are projects that, first of all, have high failure rates. Secondly, they have limited kind of growth potential. So our strategy for building those is going to be based on a fairly strict set of rules and things we've done to very efficiently manage those relationships. It is we have created the builder's deck presentation. You might have seen that. It's available out there, where basically which explains how anybody can build on Unique. We have made it very simple for everybody to do that. Anybody who wants to build on Unique can use and should use SDK, which allows millions of developers to be used for that. They don't need any specialized knowledge. Walking them through the builder's deck and SDK documentation takes an hour, and off they go. They can build stuff they need, and it's simple as that. We built documentation. We made some and are continuing to make education materials for them that will kind of allow them to self-serve and understand things quickly and easily. We have a support channel on Telegram and on Discord, and we can certainly offer them some architecture consulting that's kind of limited in scope, 1 man day, for example, and that's it. They will be offered access to our ecosystem investor pool. Okay, we have dozens of high-quality investors that are interested in investing in startups, and will
I think we can't hear Alex anymore, or maybe it's my connection. Alex, are you back on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Now we can hear you,
Okay.
yes.
So sorry, I think the phone got into the sleep mode, and that has kind of broke off the connection. Um, uh, okay, the grant program will be created when the token is worth enough to justify it. But even without that, we offer so much easy things for projects that are building stuff that we anticipate a nice flow. I wouldn't expect from this segment to be too big this year. Instead, we will focus heavily on the segment we call enterprise that I mentioned. So you have seen the announcements, heard announcements on partnerships with Livetree, with Snark Art, with Lemonade Social, with Forever Has Fallen, with others. And we are working with each one of them separately on creating a growth strategy. That strategy sometimes involves technical collaborations on projects, sometimes involves marketing assistance help, sometimes it involves a lot of other things. But the main idea here is each of those gets a dedicated executive account managers. I am an executive account manager for some of them. So our Charu, Greg, or Irina, head of growth, who kind of are dedicated to strategically help those accounts kind of do what's necessary for growth. There is a dedicated also account manager and a technical manager to each. We provide to them architecture consulting on an ongoing basis. We provide them implementation assistance for whatever is necessary. Most of the things they all need to build is, for us, it's very simple. We know how to do, and we have a team to do it. So very often we provide those services to them. Mostly they're free. And because that improves our adoption and growth. The idea here is that take any of those partners, they have their own community. They bring it on board to Unique. We have our community. We get them on board to those projects. They have certain capabilities. We have certain capabilities. Jointly, we make them stronger. They make us stronger. So the idea is, as they grow, we grow. And each of them is capable of bringing in tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of new users to us. So the idea is to build out not an enormous number. My kind of goal is 6 to 12 of these partnerships a year, and then each of them has 6 to 12 projects a year. That in itself will be enough. It will be enough for us to get million users within a couple of years. That is the main focus. In terms of financing help, we give them. Okay, I might have broken off again. In terms of financing help, we provide them again the kind of deeper access to our ecosystem investors pool. We are working very closely now with our big investors and kind of important ones like Animoca Brands or Lao or others who are basically very happy to get access to quality projects, and we are hoping that they will be helping these projects to kind of on a financial side of things. We give them also as grants, we give them some development implementations. They're not huge, but they are mostly about, men or a man month worth of work or two. But that is often much better and much more important than money. In terms of business development, we help them a lot with relationships with parity. And Parity actually has started to help us. We started working with their ecosystem growth team about half a year ago, and that collaboration is increasing and will, I believe, be a crucial channel for us for lead generation and for Parity for execution. We are already seeing some, a pipeline of high quality projects, and I believe that as year goes by, that will start to grow. Also, Polkadot Treasury has become much more open to helping our ecosystem projects and us. It didn't used to be. Their main goal was helping new parachains, but now things are shifting. You might have seen proposal, for managing that process. That's something that we will be working very attentively on to make sure that us and our ecosystem projects mainly can benefit from Polkadot Treasury, because that is in the bear market as it is now, that can very often be the last resort investment in the pool. And it is in mutual interest of overall Polkadot to support projects that are bringing adoption and not only the development work. Therefore, the appetite of the Treasury is growing in that sense, and we intend to kind of very attentively take advantage of that. There's also help, again, as I said, from our investor pool that's not kind of limited to money, but is much more than that. Of course, there's exposure to the community. There's events we're doing together. We're inviting them to some kind of high-profile events, and we'll continue to do so, and so on. So we believe that this partnership/enterprise segment will be kind of the biggest source of traction for us, because each of those relationships can have exponential growth for them and for us if successfully implemented and done. Therefore, it is for us the best way to invest our resources into it in a kind of sustained way, where we continuously develop those relationships and get them to the point where competitive advantage for them and for us becomes something that is deeply better than kind of what competition or others can have. That is the key kind of growth there. As I mentioned, we're working with all of our partners on projects and on strategy, on strategic things we can do. So you can expect over the coming months, just like we had announcements on events that we were doing with Lemonade, or the things we've done with Digital Art for Climate, etc., and other partners. Expect those kind of projects, initiatives, and so on to continue and to kind of increase value of Unique as such, and our adoption, our kind of community growth rate, and so on. Now, one new thing, marketplaces. Okay, our marketplace has been kind of static for the last year, and the reason for that is we were trying to figure out what to do with it in a kind of very valuable way. We tried to kind of we had a very good potential kind of a project to take it over and build out in a great way, but that, like many things in business, didn't kind of work out in the end. It may come back, but what we have decided was kick on Plan B. Plan B is roughly as follows. The strategy for the marketplace will be it will transform itself into an incubator for different marketplaces and collections. What I mean by that is we don't want that marketplace to compete with anybody new coming on board, because what we want to have hundreds of specialized and great marketplaces. Marketplaces in NFTs are getting increasingly fragmented, and they need to be specialized in art, in dynamic NFTs, in this and that. It's not about the marketplace as a technical solution, it's about marketplaces as a business. So what we want to do is we want to have a mechanism to have as many of those and as more successful as possible. So that's kind of definition of the goal of a mission and so on. The way we will attempt to do that, first thing we will do is we will make our marketplace on Quartz permissionless, which means it will be anybody will be able to mint, make NFTs and sell them there, primary, secondary. Second thing, and most important thing, we will this year, the plan is until the end of the year, we are starting the process of decentralizing ownership and operation of that marketplace and make it a community marketplace. The main idea of that marketplace is to have a place for everybody to experiment until they have ability to have their own marketplace and their own kind of thing that are usually specialized, have special functionality, have special kind of needs and everything else. The goal of the marketplace is that it will not be managed by us, it should be managed by community, and kind of it should belong to a community. We haven't decided yet, we haven't made a strategy on exactly how to accomplish it. I'm kind of announcing this today with the goal of not kind of going into implementation, but we will start soon talking to you, all of you and all the community, about how exactly to do that. We'll be putting forward proposals and they will be voted upon by the community to decide how exactly to do it. We know we will need a blacklisting functionality, just like OpenSea has or anybody else has, to make sure that illegal content is not kind of there, okay, that doesn't have access to the community, kind of to that marketplace. But other than that, it will be open to everybody. So that process of blacklisting is now in the process of legal definition and business process definition, and then we will come to the community for people willing to perform that function, okay, and they will be paid from the pool of revenues made by that marketplace. In a way that community finds it kind of appropriate. That is just one function. I believe that the strategic oversight of the marketplace should be given to the community as well. So we will start kind of asking questions about that in a few weeks as we finish preparations that are necessary for that. When I say preparations, I mean technical work that needs to be done. to make it kind of adopted to the vision. Firstly, is the work needed to make it permissionless, so that kind of anybody can mint and put the NFTs for sale. Second thing we're working on now is royalty. We will make kind of availability of royalty as well. That is necessary in today's world to protect the interests of artists and to give to the artist the decision on how their work is sold and resold, and et cetera, et cetera. It is simply the value that NFTs bring to the to their work. Just checking, guys. You're hearing me, okay?
Yes,
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we are also working on making that marketplace as a primary and secondary marketplace. There's technical work needs to be done there. Then there's work on our advanced features, enabling those things. That's kind of not so simple, but it is extremely important, of course. As we are kind of progressing with that work, we started it kind of early this year, and as we get closer, I hope that by the end of the first quarter, we should kind of know exactly when we will kind of launch the marketplace, but in such a fashion, but the plans are not yet kind of fixed or made. Tech teams are working in parallel on all the things I mentioned, and we'll have kind of deadlines closer, in March. So we'll announce in March kind of when to expect those things and how we're going to make the launch. But the important message here is, again, it is something that we do not intend to operate, run, own, or whatever. It will be given to the community to manage. Like all DAO things, in order for it not to be too chaotic, we will kind of we will manage the transition, and we will start attracting people kind of from the community who are interested and aren't necessary to accomplish that to the end. But the idea there is to make it, again, as much decentralized and as much community owned as possible. And then, besides the permissionless marketplace in Quartz, what that marketplace will have is a section that will be covering featured marketplaces on Unique or Quartz. That will be actually the main message, because the high quality projects will be there. Our vision is that they will have mostly their own marketplaces, copies of ours, or technically, or something completely new. It's up to them. But the main idea is that this is the way that our marketplace helps incubate new stuff, because they will be featured on kind of the main page. They will be given access to the community, and community will know what high quality projects will come up, and they will know what drops they're doing, what kind of things they're doing, and so on. So this will be the, I guess, main long-term growth potential for the marketplaces businesses. We do not want to, again, this marketplace to compete with anybody who wants to come on board, but rather kind of give them equal access to the main assets we have, and that is namely community, that is namely, people interested in those things. So the potential target audience for people to create stuff, or to sell stuff, or to buy stuff. That's the main thing. Our collections will be kind of separate marketplaces. So Punks and Celebrix should be kind of then separated from that. We will have also probably have featured collections from the kind of incubating marketplace, but that will depend on how the actual launch strategy and growth strategy, first of all, is conceived and then worked out. So, that's something not kind of fully finished. So again, we started working on these things. Expect from us in March, kind of starting asking questions, making more announcements, explaining more about our vision. Right now, all of that is in the works, and we will be updating you as much as possible, as we kind of understand certain things, and we'll be asking you again a lot of questions on how best to do things, because we want this thing to be in the hands of community. That will involve any governance tokens, any airdrops, any kind of decisions on how the blacklisting works, and how the featured section is managed, et cetera, et cetera. And a final pillar of our ecosystem growth is what I called initially open source growth. This is something that fairly new, that has come on board as a result. I don't know if you guys have seen, but Remark guys are kind of have applied to Polkadot Treasury for a large grant to make a set of pallets out of Remark, and that has sparked kind of our attention to that as a resource, and so that's one that was an immediate kind of spark. But also, we have spent the last year and a half, 2 years, mostly kind of focused on ourselves, on building out the parachain capabilities, whether it's their technical, organizational, or marketing, or otherwise. And the time has come for us to open up in a big way to the overall Polkadot community, because we're not just a blockchain in isolation. We are part of the Polkadot community, and that as kind of as an entity means that we need to be not just a single entity, but we need to be very integrated in the whole Polkadot community, which will morph us into something very specific to blockchain organizations, something that does not have a classical hierarchy or a strategy and everything else, but has much more decentralized those things. What it means specifically is, much larger collaboration with other parachains, and much bigger, deeper collaboration with Parity, with Web3 Foundation, and any kind of cross-chain DApps or any other organizations that are in the ecosystem. The way we intend to contribute to that and kind of gain value from it is by taking what we have built and making that available to a wider community. We, as a parachain, have built, first of all, a set of pallets for NFT creation and management, our NFT palette, and associated with the RFD palette and a few others that are basically an infrastructure to make NFTs. Such a thing can actually be needed in many parachains, for many parachains. And the fact that we have it doesn't mean that we are the only one who should have it inside their parachains. The technology we built is awesome and can actually benefit many others. Parity has come to, and Polkadot Council have come to to understand that actually parachains should be very encouraged to share what they built. So they are now working on, they have now opened the access to the treasury and to all the other resources of the Polkadot ecosystem that there is at their disposal to encourage that sharing. The best example of how that can work is, for example, our SDK. Our SDK is an awesome thing that nobody else has built in the Polkadot ecosystem that does two things. One is it isolates any dApps built on a parachain or on multiple parachains from the changes in substrate itself. Those changes are frequent, they're substantial, and they break a lot of things unless very carefully managed. If any parachain has substrate dApps that are, that's not one or two or three, but that has, larger numbers, that if they have, I don't know, 10 apps or plan to have tens of them, which many parachains do, then managing that update process is hell unless solved properly. And we have solved that properly with the SDK, which requires only one team, one or two people in that team very kind of knowledgeable about it to update things within the SDK, and then all the dApps are safe from from the substrate changes. This is a huge thing we have encountered as we have created the first version of SDK a year and a half, 2 years ago, but it didn't have this capability, and we needed a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of resources to build one that can handle this part. So it's a very valuable resource that can be beneficial to many parachains in the ecosystem, not just us. Second benefit that the SDK brings is the fact that it abstracts out the blockchain. It gives access to any dApp creator in as a REST API, which is something that millions of developers in the world know how to do. So it becomes, with that, you open the door to, instead of having hundreds of, right now there may be hundreds of Substrate developers that can do stuff on Substrate, and it takes a while to learn it. It takes learning Rust and then learning Substrate. It's very hard. Instead of that, a Polkadot ecosystem can be open to any developer. Okay, JavaScript is something that millions of developers know. We haven't stopped at that. We've developed it for mobile applications. We developed it for C# and Unity, which form basis of our gaming SDK, so that actually anybody can have access to, again, millions of developers and making it much easier for everybody. When I spoke to Polkadot kind of council members about that, when I mentioned that, they were like, wow, this is something we really need as an ecosystem. So what we're doing now is we're kind of started to talk to different parachains to kind of find a few interested ones, do a proof of concept, make sure that they do kind of like it, and then when they do, then we can go to the Polkadot Treasury, ask for money to pay us back for the development of that, which is not small. It's in hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then to cover the cost of maintenance and implementation into kind of certain number of parachains. This way, what we get is basically we take a product we've built and make it available to all the dozens of parachains in the ecosystem on Kusama and Polkadot, and not only parachains. Actually, this thing works on dApps as well. It can be, parachains doesn't have to have it. dApp can have it. We talked with a few of those as well, and they were very excited about it because it doesn't touch blockchain; it just talks to the blockchain. So it doesn't require the parachain to want it. It can have dApp to have it. This reallocation, what it will do is it will basically increase the funding available for that SDK. It will increase adoption to our technology. It will give us access to kind of dozens of projects where sometimes our help will be needed and we can charge for that. SDK itself can grow in functionality and capabilities in a way we couldn't afford ourselves. Okay, this way we'll start getting more everywhere. The whole the level of tide will grow everywhere, and with that, us as a technical leader, it will grow most. So that is basically the strategy. The similar kind of approach works with our sponsoring palette. That may be that we think is a great innovation and maybe needed by a number of parachains. And of course, with our core offering of the NFT capabilities. That capability is our holy grail. We've developed it, but we believe that in Web3, the adoption comes from things being open source and widely adopted. Just like you have, engine created 1155, and now they can, and they become very famous for it. So now, when they make a second or third their own chain, or second or third their own chain, they get millions of dollars. They get immediately, a lot of community members and a lot of and very high valuation to accomplish that, because they're very well known. Okay, and this is something that will add value to Unique and to our position in the overall Polkadot ecosystem and beyond that. Okay, so we will start working on that, specifically with parachains interested, with DApps interested, and we'll see where it takes us. Okay, but it is an important kind of move, because so far, again, we were focused on building internally, and now it's time for us to contribute to the overall Polkadot ecosystem, and this way increase our presence everywhere, increase the adoption of the technology we've built, and overall profile of Unique. So I have had a long speech, just scratching the surface of things we're working on, we're thinking about, and we will work on. But happy to answer more questions. We have 2 more people to talk. I'll gladly, Charu, I guess, Charu, is it you or Greg who's next? Forgot.
Yeah, Alex, I can go very quickly. Next, so thanks for the updates. And as Alex mentioned, the focus on enterprise, you can also expect to see more content aligned to those priorities that Alex mentioned. So that is work in progress, and you'll see more of that. But at the same time, we are delighted to share and announce the new website, which some of you may have already seen. It is designed keeping in mind the priorities and interests of various community members, developers, investors, business users, and even just enthusiasts who like to learn more about NFT infrastructure and about Unique Network. So I would say, please take time to go through what we have on the community on the website, especially the new developer pages, the ecosystem page, the learn page, and so on. We are soon announcing some community contests and quizzes around that. So familiarize yourself with the website, and there are chances to win rewards in these quests and contests. Um, in addition to that, we are also preparing to participate in various upcoming events, and again, close alignment with Polkadot, Parity, and some of the other parachains. We will be present at Denver, at Consensus, and some of the other upcoming events as well. You'll find us in various side events of these main conferences. So looking forward to meet you if you're attending any of those. Um, and yeah, the Belgrade Blockchain Week as well. So there's a lot more coming up. And just stay tuned to the community announcements. That's what I would say for now. And I'll pass this on to Greg for updates on development.
Hey, thanks for Charu. Yes, now I'm going to talk about really exciting stuff. So the most exciting thing that happened last month with us is we enabled staking on Quartz. As we all know, staking allows to to receive additional benefit by locking the tokens, the tokens that we already own. And we already see, as of today, we see 100 million quartz staked, which means we are sharing the inflation and commission, network fees, revenue with these 143 staker addresses. So it's not a large number, 143, but I hope we'll see many more investors come to stake with us. Feel free to do that if you have any quartz and you're not planning to do anything with that within next month or so. So we actually even week, because the rule of a staking, they have a couple of limitations there. So first, we allow to stake any amount of quartz larger than starting with 100 quartz, and one address can stake it up to 10 times. After that, if it needs to stake more, it needs to unstake and stake again. But we're working on making this better. So especially in terms of staking the tokens that are in locked investing, for example. So right now it's not possible to, or it's not recommended to, well, it's not possible, yes, that's right, to stake tokens that are locked investing, but we're gonna relax this requirement and allow these tokens to be staked soon. But now you can stake, if the tokens are fee and transferable, you can stake them right away. The APR on the staking, the estimated APR is about 20% annual. The reward is granted every day. So approximately every day, we pay the reward to every staker. Also, Alex mentioned about the SDK that we keep improving. Yes, we have. It has very nice architecture and allows Web2 developers to integrate with our chain. That is very important for us, that we encapsulate or different or all difficult implementation details, integration details inside this SDK, and allow simple RESTful interface. We have C# clients for that SDK, as well as JavaScript, TypeScript, and also we're working on a few more languages. C# allows us to say that we can easily integrate with mobile devices and Unity, which brings it to gaming. So we have gaming SDK now, and it's very easy to use. So basically, does it make any difference between? It's not any different from regular RESTful interface and regular library that engineers are working with usually. Should be very, very convenient to use. Another big thing that we're working on internally is scaling. We're benchmarking ourselves against other networks, and we're trying to make the transactions, to find bottlenecks and make transactions the most efficient as we can. The end goal is to be able to make as many, mint as many NFTs and make as many transfers as we can. So we just recently found the first bottleneck, which allowed us to increase the throughput by order of magnitude. Okay, so I think these are the major updates, the major technical updates. So, Charu, I think you had something else, or?
No, we have questions from the community.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can, Chara, I can do not make things complicated. I can take it over and kind of ask Greg those questions that are technical for him.
Awesome, thanks.
So here is one from Andrew 456. Can you share more about elements of your SDK? Some.
That's quite technical. I can take this on. Basically the greatest element that you're never going to see as a developer, but I need to talk about it because it exists, is the backend that actually hides all difficulties, all implementation details, all integration details with Polkadot. And we manage it, we keep it up and running. We update it every time Polkadot and Kusama updates because we have to. But at the end of the day, it provides the nice stable API on the visible side. So you have RESTful interface that never changes on your side. That's the greatest component. So like I said, the first component is the RESTful is the backend. Then it's layered to RESTful API that you can any application can connect to, as you know. And we have client applications because you still need to sign transactions. Somehow it needs to be done. So we have very, very thin client code that that you can use either in a browser or in a mobile application, or maybe in a desktop game, or maybe in a Unity application, you name it. So we're trying to make as many client versions as possible that suit the particular developer need.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Next question I'll try to tackle. So can you share what industries will benefit most from your products? This is a question from Raspi345. And what industries are you targeting? We are actually, we started about a month ago, at the beginning of the year. We started digging into that use cases view on NFTs and on Unique and what it means for us. And our product managers have identified at least 12 kind of different use cases. And we are starting to tackle them one by one. What we have decided, actually, we have distributed among the management first. Each kind of took over one section, one industry or use case to kind of dive deeply into and to create the content about it and some high level or low level go-to-market strategy with it. So, for example, Greg has taken over gaming, and we're working on. He has been working on it every conference. He goes, looks for developers. He goes. It was today at a gaming conference in Belgrade, asking devs and gaming kind of industry participants. It's not just gaming developers. There's guilds. There's all kinds. What kinds of things are they looking for, and what's important for them, etc. So that's how we came up with the gaming SDK, which is basically the basis of it is ready, and we have a product to give them, and are starting to work with small kind of development groups or projects to try things out and to kind of launch small things first before we go to the big guys, because that's a requirement. So same thing, we're looking at a number of use cases or industries in depth. We're looking at sustainability and overall climate change movement. Because it has become important to a lot of people who are our target audience, to fashion brands, to big consumer brands, and so on. And that is something that we're developing some collaborations on. The event management that's what Lemonade does. We work with them, and then we're looking into different angles and different strategies to where it evolves, because event management very quickly evolves into things like fan management for celebrities, or community management for brands, or many other things. Actually, it's an incredibly kind of embedded industry that very quickly goes into other things with NFTs. So, we helped Lemonade. We did a joint project for Museum Week, and that collaboration might be kind of evolving deeper into several areas, actually. We're working, there's a kind of big cultural movement that is kind of being born here in Belgrade, where there's a kind of collaboration on cultural levels. So many art forms and many cultural forms, concerts, museums, exhibitions, various kind of things are involved, and we're kind of working with them to embed NFTs into that, with photography, with several others. So, that event management software can get an inroads into many things. We're looking at legal side of NFTs and IP rights management. That's something our COO is working on, as he's CFO and a legal guy, and a few others. And we'll kind of, we'll try to kind of focus on one per person initially, and then we'll go further. So very timely question, and lots of things happening there. Hope I have answered the question in some detail. One privacy, which means unknown person, is asking, what are you doing with the marketplace? What are your plans with marketplace? And why did you stop white label marketplace? I believe that I have addressed those questions in detail previously on this call. So hopefully, I've answered in advance. We stopped white label marketplace because we have now the SDK that does more or less the same thing. Basically, you can take the example of the marketplace just as good as white label, and then you don't need to worry about substrate changes, and there are examples for everything, so it can be deployed fairly quickly by anybody, and then it's much more easily customized. We don't call it anymore white label marketplace. Maybe we should, maybe we want, we'll see. But the idea is that we have moved that approach to the SDK. Okay, Bogdan Komarov has this question. Hi, Unique team. When is Ledger support coming? We will, Greg, this is for you. Will we be able to stake directly from Ledger without external input from MetaMask? And will we be able to unstake only a portion of staked amounts? I guess this is not Ledger related.
Oh, you're gone again.
Sorry, I'm back. Am I back?
Yep, you're back.
Okay, so because right now, if unstaking, you're forced to unstake all you have and wait 7 days to stake it again. So several questions in one for you, Greg.
Okay. So Ledger is coming soon. Yes, we are finalizing the last details with them. So technically everything is ready. So it's more the question of organizing things and releasing them than developing. So, but the Ledger has
Who was the organization that's handling that integration?
It's Zondex that's working on these for us.
Yeah, because that's something that Polkadot has done on a kind of Polkadot level and gives available to every parachain to do. So I'm just clarifying this.
Yep, that was amazing. So as far as the staking, it all depends on the wallet support. So because depends on how you integrate Ledger with your wallet. MetaMask is a very nice. So, well, technically you don't need a MetaMask for that because you'll be using the Polkadot extension for staking. So, I guess the formal answer to your question is no, you don't need MetaMask, but you still need extension. And then it will depend on what wallets you're using. So, and how the wallets are integrating the staking. As far as the, I think I missed that part of the question about the week of staking, unstaking.
I can answer that because I know the unstaking of a portion of the stake amount is actually in the works now, and that will come with the next release, as usual with substrate development. It's hard to say when it's going to be rolled over, but we have realized that is something that immediately needs to be addressed, and the dev team is already working on a solution of allowing partial unstaking. So it's a matter of, a few weeks for the development, and then unfortunately the rollout period is longer because with every update you take like that, you have to be very careful in kind of rolling it out and to look for bugs and so on. So the solution to that should be, it's not weeks, but it's a few months away, but it's in the works. We know about it. We know about the problem and have started to address it right away. Okay, a few more questions to wrap things up. Something kind of commercial from Sasha Galush. He says the reversal of the market is already beginning, where listings are, where information about the growth in the price of token. Staking is good, but since the sale price has gone to minus 99%, why is there no information about this and no one is talking about it? Okay, so there are two parts of this question. One is, where is the information about growth in the price of token? Well, Sasha, I'm sure you need an update in the rules about those things because we cannot talk about that stuff. It's the crypto world is very quickly getting regulated, and in a lot of jurisdictions there is very strict regulations. So we, as kind of main operator of the project and the issuer of the token, cannot talk about the price appreciation and growth in price. And so we are very restricted in that. We cannot do that. Please kind of, make sure you understand those rules well, because they're in your benefit, okay? Because we cannot and must not pump the token price and say, oh, it's going to grow and things like that, okay? It's actually very wrong projects who do that, okay? This is something that, on a side somewhere, the community can discuss between themselves privately or whatever, but we cannot comment on it. We cannot say it. We cannot do it because it's not right. Okay, it's anything we say in that respect will only. It will make us speculators, and we are not speculators. We are building the chain, and that's kind of our main job. Now, the second part of some parts of your question are kind of we can talk to. Okay, so the reversal of the market is already beginning, indeed. And the NFT market is picking up a little. We are looking at that same as you are, and we are hopeful that it will stick, but you never know. What's important is that actual adoption is working, and we have discussed that for the first 45 minutes of this call about what we are doing about the adoption. Because let's face it, I forgot one thing. For the marketplace, we are also making it the Quartz and Unique the main payment token for that. So that will be released also when the overall marketplace changes in place. So the adoption of our tokens should grow with that as well. So we can and do talk a lot about adoption, and that adoption means there are more people interested, there are more people kind of using the token, there are more people who will need to use the token, and that is the value we are working on. Okay, next question is, Greg, for you. I think you have something specific to share on. Can you share more about collators? What's the process and when can we get in?
It's done. It's ready. So collators can join, but the technical part is done. But we need to solve the puzzle how we incentivize collators, and that's more of a financial and other question that I can turn back to you, but we haven't discussed it yet. So what needs to be done is we need to decide how the incentivization is done, because usually the collator incentivization comes together with staking, and we purposefully decided to separate these two things because logically they are different for our network. When staking guarantees the security of the network, yes, they should come together like in Polkadot or Kusama. When we talk about parachains, it's absolutely different things, because staking in our case guarantees that we have good quality applications which we're going to promote based on the staking. And it gives us economical security of the network, but the blockchain security doesn't and shouldn't come from staking for the parachains. Even though we've seen some parachains go in this route, and they had added parity staking palette and use staking for as exactly in the same manner, exactly in the same way Polkadot and Kusama do this, so that if you're a validator in this or collator in this chain, you receive some certain benefit for making blocks. This wouldn't work. Our opinion is on that. It shouldn't work that way, but we still need to come up with a good way to incentivize. So either we're going to be incentivizing by block, or maybe we're going to be incentivizing with a flat bonus, flat benefit monthly, and this is still to be discussed. So, and this is what's happening right now. So we're talking about this internally in the tech team, and soon we're going to discuss it with the business team as well. So yes, should be expected to come soon, but I can't tell you exactly how many months.
Yeah, so here, Greg, when he says it's done, he means the technical part is done. Okay, now the hard part comes in, but the next steps here are to discuss with the few kind of organizations or people who have expressed interest, and then we'll do that over the next month or two, and then kind of figure out the right incentivization model, and then kind of start the process after that. We are as well interested to have that. The security of the network is important, and this is one important step in that direction. Okay, we have several questions now from Scotty4G. Okay, the first is simple timeline to update circulating supply on CoinGecko. Can you, Charu, can you please take up the note of that and kind of ask help what you need to kind of update that. I've noticed that myself, and is something that okay, they get it wrong, so we have to kind of
we'll follow up with them.
Follow up. But more importantly, the second part of that question was Scott says, I'm interested in how to rebuild the community, and this is what we have talked about during this call. Okay. Another question from Scott is it possible to open some B2C functionality on unique chain while building out B2B partners? Yes, of course, and they are open. So I think that the marketplace changes we discussed previously will give a big boost for that, because it will open up the minting, the trading on stuff, and all of that. A lot of people are in for that. We have the minter. A lot of people can do that. And actually, we expect a lot from our partners, a number of announcements and at increasing numbers. So, yes, you will hear a lot of those in the coming months. Well, they will start growing. I expect a kind of an exponential growth of that this year. Final question, Greg, and this is for you. What is the plan for opening channels to other Polkadot ecosystem to allow XCM transfer?
Sure, yeah. We already have Karura channel where you can transfer QTZ back and forth quartz and sell it on the Karura swap, or buy it on a Karura swap, better. We are opening soon a channel with Akala, where same thing is going to happen with Unique. Moon River and Moonbeam are asking us to implement democracy palette, which we're already working on, and it's going to be done in 2, 3, 4 months maybe. I mean the final opening of the channel. And this will enable Quartz and Unique, respectively, to be transferred to Moonbeam and listed on the DEXs. And finally, we have in that pipeline, we have StateMine and StateMint channels to be open to transfer USDT token. But this is going to happen after we have Moonriver and Moonbeam integration. And USDT token, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, finish.
Yeah, it's going to open a very, very nice use case for that will enable us to implement a marketplace that trades NFTs for USDT.
Yeah, so important thing on XCMs here is that the XCM transfers for fungible tokens is it has limited kind of importance to us. It's about DEXs, okay? That's one. Well, the stable coins is another, but that is those are nice things to have. They're not our main business. Our main business is NFTs, and XCM for NFTs is still not does not exist. So for this reason, we might be later than many other parachains in terms of growing that stuff. Plus, we have the core team focus on building out the functionality, and we have gotten to democracy kind of stuff only now. So as soon as we do that, we'll have much easier job of integrating with the number of chains. Worthwhile noting here is that we have made XCM transfers not open to anybody who wants to do it and so on. We have to specifically allow it for each chain, which is a security feature we put in place to make sure things are right. Okay, with time we may open it up to completely open design, but right now it's better to be cautious, as we have seen with some parachains being broken. The technology is still very young. So we are not rushing into it because, again, strategically for us, the most important thing is NFT XCM. And that is still just, it's not even, we're just talking to Parity team who's supposed to implement that about what it should be, what it shouldn't be. And it's a background conversation because they haven't gotten to it yet. So that will be the important thing, and we will be the first to jump into that, and we'll be all over that. So that's basically the background for that. Okay, we have had a bit longer community call than initially envisioned, but that's perfectly okay with us. Thank you for staying around. Hope to hear from you more questions in our main channel, and looking forward to the next kind of community call to happen, I guess, sometimes in March. We'll schedule that, and I think we should kind of schedule it to have more discussions in detail about the marketplace and, well, okay, everything else that becomes important at that point in time. Thank you very much, all. Hope to hear from you more, and have a great rest of the day.